yes, I still do believe that we're going to win 100%. Everybody, give it up for Carpe one more time. Now, one more question. Carpe, you guys will be fighting against Team Australia very, very soon. If you can make a prediction, what do you think will be the final score of that match? 자, 오늘 호주와의 경기 예상 어떻게 하십니까?
당연히 3대 0이요.
Easy sweep 3-0. Everybody, you heard the man. Would that come true? Team Australia versus Team South Korea coming your way very, very soon. But for now, take it away, Desk.
Aye. Oh, the spice.
Picante.
Picante. You know, it had to be a desperate reinforcement. I'm saying picante one time. Okay, so to respond, we actually got Mika, who's down with a member of Team Australia to get their thoughts. Mika, what's going on in the arena?
That's right. I got Custa here from Team Australia. So you just heard that prime smack talk from Carpe over there. How are you feeling hearing that they're going to sweep you?
I think we're going to put up as big of a fight as we can. They obviously have amazing players, but they might be surprised. We've seen crazy upsets today, so we are here.
You're not wrong there. And so how are you feeling? Like, what's your prep going into such a pretty intimidating matchup against South Korea?
Yeah, because of how mechanically talented and how skillful they are, we're going to throw a couple of curveballs at them here and there, maybe see how well they adapt. So anything could happen. It'll be interesting. Looking forward to the crowd sort of being behind us. I hope everyone wants us to win. Everyone loves an underdog story, so we can hope.
That's true. I do love the Aussie crowd. They are always loud, they are always powerful. But for now, we're going to kick it back over to that desk.
Thank you so much for that. Always a pleasure to hear from Custa. And, he's trying to be humble. you know he wants to bring the thunder, but he's going to get the gameplay. He's going to let that do the talking. Okay? Now,
sure.
All right.
I genuinely think that Australia have a reasonable, is what I want to say, chance of taking this against that.
Why?
I'll give you some reasoning, okay? Yeah. South Korea, they've changed up their roster recently. Yeah. The most drastic change we've seen in the Overwatch League, getting rid of 3 of their players, replacing them with 3 more. Minimal time to practice. Fury's been in the United Kingdoms, Fate's been in America, been playing with a ping disadvantage.
Okay.
So the scrims have been all over the place, all over the world, quite literally.
Literally.
Okay. Literally. So I feel like Australia, where they've had, again, this practice time to prep, they know they're going to be going up against South Korea. They know who they're playing up against. I reckon they got some spicy stuff up their
That sounds
sleeves.
great, Ben. What's good about Australia?
They're okay. They're not bad.
Yeah.
Trill's a good main tank. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
Like, the guy actually specializes a lot on the hamster, Hammond, wrecking ball.
Do you think the hamster is going to beat South Korea, is what you're saying?
I think it could. They could bring it out.
I love how reinforces trying to
as well, Johnny, though, as well.
I just want to know.
Like, here's the thing. Wrecking Ball as well was weaker in the group stages when Australia were playing. Now that he's in a better place currently on the patch that we're playing, I feel like they're in a very reasonable position to take this.
I think he's got this kind of...
will take down South Korea. I got it.
Cool. Yeah. I think Bren's gone mental with the UK upset. He now just truly believes
that...
I
never said I was going to predict them, Josh.
All of the favourites are going to lose.
So I don't know why you're putting words in my mouth. We'll wait for the last match of the day, okay?
Yeah,
but I genuinely feel like this is a match that nobody is going to want to miss because anything can happen.
Yeah, and that has been proven. I mean, we have the United Kingdom taking down the USA. A lot of people wrote off Canada in that match against Team France. You two, most notably.
Yeah, I said it was 50-50. How is that writing them off?
Yeah, definitely. So I agree with my colleagues here at BlizzCon, at the Overwatch World Cup. Anything can happen. It's going to be awesome. So we're going to go to a break. Coming up next, though, we have Team China going up against Team Finland. We're going to see Taimu and the boys take the stage. Let's see how it all pans out after this.
The Overwatch World Cup is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC of the Overwatch World Cup, and by T-Mobile, America's fastest unlimited network.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
中国委员会，我是社区代表小鬼。
大家好，我是领队赤小拓，
我是教练瑞。那么大家应该知道，我们中国队的选手是一群非常害羞的大男孩们所组成的。
是的，所以如果能在现场听到你们为他们加油呐喊，那么相信他们一定会发挥得更为出色。那么就请今天在现场以及屏幕前的观众朋友们跟我们一起喊出哦！
我行，你也行。
Hey guys, it's Nasse from Team Finland here, and I'm here with my dog, Nugetti. Thanks to everyone that supported us throughout the whole event. It's been awesome to see such a loyal and great fan base all over the world. It's just amazing. Now, why Team Finland, you might ask? Because we have the passion and we try to win in every situation. Our players give everything they have in each game they play. Wanna join us? All we need is your support, and you can show that support by using our official cheer, Torille. Thank you for supporting. We'll see you at BlizzCon. Let's take it home this year.
The 2018 Overwatch World Cup is brought to you in part by Corsair, T-Mobile, Samsung SSD, and NVIDIA.
Welcome back, everyone, to the 2018 Overwatch World Cup. As we get ready for our next matchup, it will be China versus Finland. Golden Boy with Brand, Reinforced, and Sideshow to break it all down. Very excited for this matchup here. Excited to see Finland take the stage, fellas.
I have a honest feeling about this match that it's going to be good. Okay, I don't know where I was going halfway through that sentence, but it went somewhere nice. So
I have a feeling that this match is going to be good. Brent, 2018, ladies and gentlemen. Well, you know what else is good? Our insider, Emily, who's actually going to be standing by. Oh, as a matter of fact, I stand corrected. We have to go to other good people as well. I was just told we got Puck and Zoe who want to check in with your fan reactions. Puck and Zoe, what's going on?
That's right, Golden Boy. Don't forget about us. We're partying over at the T-Mobile area. And of course, we got your T-Mobile fan pulse brought to you by T-Mobile, America's fastest unlimited network. It's Puckett, it's Zoe. We've been having fun, and so is everyone online.
Absolutely. Like, we have fantastic shops because we just get to read your reactions. So let's just bring up the first tweet and see what you guys had to say using the hashtag OWWC2018.
Name a better T-Mobile MVP. You can't, because T-Mobile MVP XQC.
It rhymes. It has to be true. It's pretty simple.
He's pretty good on that monkey.
He's been known for that. All right, next one. Travis says, hashtag T-Mobile MVP for sure. Sure for. See what you did there. His Sombra has been enabling their team so well. One of the best in the world, hands down full stop.
He loves that hero, gets to control the game, he says. And of course, we got Ponza, love Gordon. He's been tweeting at us throughout the entire year. My T-Mobile MVP is the beautiful Golden Boy FTW because segues, baby. You know he had to do it to you.
I love that you just added in the word beautiful, even though that's not at all what it was said in a tweet.
You know I mean it, Alex. You know I mean it.
Okay, but you guys at home and everyone in this arena, cast your vote for our Overwatch World Cup MVP. You can either use the Twitch overlay or you can head on over to Twitter using the hashtag T-Mobile MVP. Puckett, who's yours?
Dude, I was thinking about this. I mean, Bonnie is in the running right now as a Zenyatta lover. I know Doa is smiling ear to ear watching Bonnie's plays. Trances have been on point, and this guy's getting kills today like this.
Wow.
I hit the camera, my bad.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it was on screen, but it looked really good from down here. Honestly, I'm a bit disappointed. I thought you'd go for a Doomfist answer, agilities, but you know.
He's got some more room to play. You know, we're gonna see we're gonna see a whole lot of Doom.
Okay.
I can't wait to see what Korea's gonna be bringing to the table before I pick agilities.
Well, neither can I. Canadian.
Yeah, it's a great place.
Right. That's exactly what I wanted to say. Anyway, that's it from us. We're gonna party some more here in the T-Mobile area. For now, we're gonna head on over back to our desk with Golden Boy.
Thank you so much, and I do agree, as a matter of fact. I am rather beautiful.
Just Golden Boy on the desk, though, apparently.
That's right. Look at this. Look how gorgeous I am. I'm just being fondled all over the place. You see, this is great. You know, right, guys? Right, guys?
Yeah.
No? Yeah?
You're glowing.
I'm glowing. Oh, word. But hey, if I happen to win a T-Mobile MVP, I am sweaty. If I happen to win a T-Mobile MVP, that would be pretty dope. Well, let's go ahead and send it now over to Emily, who's actually on the floor with Lijiang representing Team China.
Thank you so much. Hi, BlizzCon! I'm Emily, and I'm so excited to be here. Standing next to me is the amazingly talented Lijiang. Can I please get a shout out for Lijiang? 掌声鼓励 Lijiang! So a lot of teams have seen Team China as the mystery team. Are you guys going to use that to your advantage? 因为基本上所有的队伍都把中国看成一支神秘之队，你觉得这对你们来说是不是个优势？
我觉得在去年的比赛里面，因为除了我们队内的 Sky 在 OWL 露过脸之外，我们其他人都是在中国里边打比赛，所以他们对我们的了解比较少。这样我们感觉可以用更好的状态。 因为他们对我们的研究比较少，所以我们可以用其他的阵容去克制他们，所以我觉得这对我们是有利的。
So he said that last year, with the exception of Sky, most of these teams haven't seen what China's capable of, so they're going to use that to their advantage and deliver the best performance they can. Now, how did you guys prepare to face off against Team Finland? Are there any players that you guys focused on? 那么第一场对阵芬兰队。 你们觉得准备的充分吗？有没有什么针对性的对策？
在过去的几周里，我们研究了芬兰的每一张图使用过的阵容，我们对他们的站位和阵容都非常的了解，所以我觉得我们这次已经做好准备面对芬兰了。
Very well said. So Team China has done incredible research and homework for Team Finland. They're very familiar with all their defenses, so they think they're going to take it home. Thank you guys so much. Back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Emily, and great to hear from the Chinese players, Lijiang there as well. And I happen, to agree. Like, we don't know what we're going to see from this team, right? Anything is possible, and China in the past has been known to throw in some curveballs into their game plans, and maybe they're going to do the same thing here. I mean, Finland's just not expecting it.
Yeah, I mean, I played versus these guys in the Bangkok qualifier, and
how did that go?
Not that great. I'm trying to
to
explain how it did go poorly.
Okay, sure.
How did it go poorly?
We played the triple tank and the triple support composition.
Like Finland. Let the man speak, Josh. I got to put my foot down. Let him speak. Come on.
Please,
Johnny, just please speak up.
And China picked Bastion. That's all.
Okay, so China played Bastion into the triple tank, triple support. But, we had talked about before, Finland, they were a team that was very prepared for any and all variations of that triple support. This is like the squad that understands it better than most. Yeah. I mean, surely, again, they're going to be expecting that, especially if you look at the VOD of Bastion picking apart Team
I got
Sweden.
high hopes, honestly, for Finland as a squad. The only team to you're just throwing shade all over the place, aren't you?
I didn't do anything.
Look at you. You're out of control, honestly. I got to take control of this desk. I'm sat in the host position. Do you want me to do your job for you?
Go ahead.
I don't think I'd be able to do it. But Finland, I've got high hopes for as a team. One of the only teams to really make South Korea sweat in a certain extent, like in recent memories when it comes to the World Cup. So I'm looking forward to what they've got to do at least.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you know, want to take a look at how Team China made it here to BlizzCon. Let's go ahead and take a look.
After the Shanghai Dragons' year in the Overwatch League, China has a lot to prove at this year's Overwatch World Cup. They felt pressure coming into the Bangkok stage, feeling that they had to bring deserved glory back to their country. And they did it in impressive fashion. If you had any doubts about the contender scene in China, they should be washed away by now, with players like Guxue, Eviltal, and Crystal styling on their opponents in Thailand. Asserting their dominance early, they showed the world that China is not a region to be underestimated. Yet the Chinese have remained humble. Coming into BlizzCon, they have been working on fine-tuning their synergy. And here in Anaheim, we're about to see what happens when a team focuses on improving, digging deep to rise up.
Team China takes the stage here, and I do agree with that video right after what we saw from the Shanghai Dragons in the Overwatch League. A lot of people have really counted out China as a strong region in competitive Overwatch, but you know, they shouldn't. They have great players.
Absolutely. They have really good players. They just haven't come together on a team before, apart from here. They're all insanely young players, honestly, and they have nerves on the stage when we've talked to them, but they've got some fantastic talent. The DPS players are amazing, but the guy who's just sublime, who every single time he's on the field, he's having huge impact, is Guxue, the main tank for this roster. Unbelievable player, easily Owl caliber, probably going to get picked up. Like, the guy is an absolute legend.
Yeah, in many ways, he is the guy leading this team because he gets so many resources from his backline as well. So he's leading the charge, creating the space for his team. And oftentimes, you can't really dedicate that many resources to your main tanks. But because of Guxue's mechanical skill with his Primal Radius, he's just simply insane. I think you can dedicate these nano boosts very confidently, and he can get some work done and secure the wins.
I feel like we're in an era of Overwatch right now where the main tank position is honestly the most sought after in terms of having someone who really excels in that role. Look at this statistic right here. Final blows per 10 minutes. He's the only tank in that list right there.
He is, and the next best main tank was Mumra at 40. He's so far ahead of everybody, and that's because they put so much effort into it. But the fact that they have such an excellent Winston player lends them towards the style of trying to break these triple tank, triple support compositions. They don't want to waste him on the Reinhardt most of the time. They want him to be out there on the Winston and pair him with a Doomfist or a Junkrat or something like that and just shred enemy Reinhardt.
So they're going to try and basically, you know, do the Canada here, right? They're going to try and counter into this, right? And see if they could break through this. But you're talking about Finland. This is the squad that they understand this composition better than pretty much everyone here.
I'm very curious to see how Finland's actually going to be performing here, because in my mind, France picked themselves up as the best triple tank, triple support team in this tournament because of the practice they got against Eagle, who they also rate very highly. We've seen Team UK come out with a very strong lineup as well when it comes to running that composition. Finland right now, this is their time to prove that they are capable of really winning and taking out a lot of these top names in the finals and moving forward here at least. You know.
A lot of teams have respect for Finland, and they know that they're going to be an excellent team, but the guy to really credit for a lot of this is their coach, Sater. He's been so fantastic over the course of the entirety of his career. Recently got picked up as a coach to go with Team Paris in the Overwatch League. This guy's got all the credentials, and he knows exactly what he's doing.
Now, Finland didn't make the top 8 last year, but they're back this year and hungry to prove that they are the best. So let's take a look back at Finland's journey through the group stages this year.
Team Finland or Team Winland.
The 5-man bomb comes down. South Korea just completely wiped.
This roster is a little piece of competitive Overwatch history, a complete revival of the 2017 incarnation of Team Giganti, one of the strongest teams in Europe at the time. So strong, in fact, that most of their members were a part of the inaugural season of the Overwatch League, representing Philadelphia, Florida, Houston, and the Los Angeles Gladiators.
Oh, yes! What a turnaround!
Joining them on Team Finland is Taimu, who famously won Apex Season 1, defeating the best of South Korea while in country with Team Envious, and who now plays for the Dallas Fuel.
When he is in form, it is absolutely incredible what he can do.
These heroes of Helsinki are here to etch themselves into mythology as some of the best Overwatch players Europe has to offer. Torille!
Couldn't think of a more fitting name for this team than the Heroes of Helsinki. You got Team Finland, and they're gonna do what they always do: gather around, be a group, right? You know, get that teamwork, that PMA going on. You got Taimu in the huddle,
notorious for PMA.
Exactly. But and also, I just want to highlight real fast in South Korea. I remember talking to Zappis, and for him, he said, this is a chance for me to showcase, right? Yep. It's a chance for me to show what I am capable of doing. He did that in Incheon.
He's currently teamless.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is a teamless, which is crazy.
This is a big tournament for him to showcase his skills. He spent his time on Florida Mayhem this past Overwatch League season. Didn't get a lot of playtime, but we know he's very flexible and very mature and very smart about the game. So this is his tournament to really shine and make a name for himself.
I'll add on to that as well by saying as well, Team Finland, is very easy to root behind this team as a whole. When we were talking to this team individually, having our little one-on-ones with them, they were said that this is a team, they don't feel that there's any drama whatsoever, and they are almost like a set of a family with this squad, because a lot of these guys have played together throughout the Overwatch scene as a whole. They've got a lot of synergy together. They've been split up in bits and pieces across the Overwatch League these days, but these guys, when they come together, it's something magical indeed.
Yeah, you could just tell that unity is definitely there for Team Finland. We didn't really touch on it. We talked a lot about this triple tank, triple support, but you got to talk about the DPS lineup on this roster. You got Taimu, you got Linkser, and you know that China's concerned about that.
I mean, Taimu and Davin are really good in
That's true. Davin as well. I'm sorry, Davin as well.
But Linkser, in my opinion, he is the star DPS player for this team as well. I think he has the best Widowmaker out of the three as well. So if we see some kind of dive composition with the Winston Diva, with a Widowmaker, I think Linkser is going to be the Widowmaker in that scenario. And I think he is the scary player you need to look out for if you're Team China.
And I'm sure we will see him potentially if Finland brings him into the lineup there, but he won't be starting. Now, let's get into some predictions.
Oh, man. I am unbelievably torn over this one, realistically. I feel like this is going to be very, very close between these two. China, I have no idea what to realistically expect. I'm tempted to go with them because I feel like they have the superior main tank, and that's what I'm really looking at these days in Gushue, so I'm actually going to be going with Team China.
Whoa, Team China. Whoa. Okay. Reinforce?
I got to go with a 3-1 for Finland, I think.
Okay. You can't, you know, betray your boys from the north, you know?
I can't. You know, I love those guys. So,
okay, Josh?
I'm incredibly split on this one. I really can't think what it comes down to. Both teams are going to play opposite styles, and it seems to be whoever executes.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to stick to my theory that countering the GOAT style, the triple tank, triple support is going to work.
Josh, every time you match my prediction, we get it wrong, Josh. Every time.
Josh, what are you going for?
On 2.
I am going to go for China. I think they've got like a 55% chance of winning here. I think it's so dead level, but like we saw for France, Canada, even when you have only a small advantage, if you have a small advantage in every fight, it can end up being fairly one-sided, so who knows?
55% advantage.
Exactly.
Show says this is going to be very interesting. I know everyone in the arena is excited for this matchup. We have Finland, we got China. It's about to go down, and I couldn't think of two better casters to call the action than Uber and Mr. X. Take it away, boys.
Thank you very much, Golden Boy. Step aside, Game of Thrones. This is the real Song of Ice and Fire. On one side, China, right? They're fiery, they're chaotic. They love to play these different compositions and take you by surprise. On the other side, it's Finland. Ice cold. They know that everyone knows what they're going to play, and they don't care.
It's funny, you know, you hang out with a lot of the players, a lot of the teams, they're talking, you're watching some scrims, whatnot, and everyone's like, oh, like, what is China going to do? What do you guys think China's going to play? What do they play against you guys? And then it's like, whenever you hear about Finland, it's like triple tank, triple support. And so what's kind of cool about this team is that they tell everybody, you know, Taibu's walking around the bag, he's like, hey, we're just going to play triple tank, triple support. They're telling everybody they're going to come out and do it. And it's like, just beat us at it. They think that they're so good at that style of play that they can just play it. Everybody knows they're going to play it. and run them over.
And it might seem simple, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about, the team that says that they're the best at playing triple tank, triple support. But everyone I've spoken to about Team Finland, including, Jane from Canada and a bunch of other coaches and players, say they do it differently. They just don't do it like everybody else, and they seem to have found a secret recipe that really makes it work. Now, I mean, Fraggy on Finland is Reinhardt. He is...
He looks like Reinhardt.
He looks like him as well. He was known for being one of the most prolific Reinhardt players. As we head on to Lijiang Tower now, we've got a perfect map to showcase these tanky comps.
And I will say, look out for Gavin as well. Overall, playing some of the DPS heroes, and then now you see him play Zarya. Looking back at Overwatch League Season 1, it's almost like confusing why he wasn't in the league. He was so good during Contenders, so good during the Contenders Finals, and everybody else made it besides him, so he's looking for a standout performance. China, though, they get control of this great positioning on the point first.
Okay, this is a very interesting setup for China. They're playing Ana and the Lucio here, so we'll see the combo, and they got that extra speed, but the Ana is the big difference maker here. Of course, a Biotic Grenade can really cause a lot of problems for Finland, but look at this target selection. They identify that getting rid of Lijiang is very, very important for them to proceed in this fight. He was split from the rest of China, and Zappas is just going to sit here on the side. He's going to be part of that pincer flank that they apply, and one by one, this is methodical. Finland are just dispatching these individuals from the Chinese roster.
Yeah, and that's where I think you see that different play style where people say, Finland does this better, they do it different. Where a lot of other teams, it's a comp with a lot of HP, you just roll right on through, right? You see just the tactical play coming out of Finland early. Davin already with this Graviton Surge. Lee building up towards his as well. He's going to be a little bit behind.
Basically, China needs to hit a Biotic Grenade to win the fight.
Yes.
Because they don't have a Zenyatta to have that damage over time, that consistent pressure with the Discord Orb. It has to be a sick Bio-Nade. They're going to push forward aggressively like this one, but nice little knockdown, and Gavin is very charged up. Graviton Surge hit it, everyone's caught on that one. This is going to hurt. Cover your eyes, children. Sky down. Gushue charged up against the wall. Even if Vertalia, they're going to get shoved on out of this one. A pretty simple combo there for Finland. The most common one you see is that Zarya and D.Va combo.
And Finland knows that the other team has a nano boost, and they know that Sky is waiting to use it. And I know they get Gushue really low. They use that Discord Orb, they put it on him, they start chunking him down. Then the nano boost comes through, and then what comes in right after that, then that's when you land that Graviton Surge, you keep him in place, you waste that ultimate. Big Earth Shatter here coming out of Fraggy. It's going to be a nice Graviton Surge return, but that's just stopping the follow-through from coming up. But the damage had already been done.
Yeah, this is it's a very questionable commission of the Graviton Surge there from China. Preemptively, Fraggy hits that Earth Shatter, saying, well, China shouldn't feel confident trying to execute their obvious combo on us if they're missing 3 of their players. Now, they maybe gave China too much credit there, and League should not have Graviton that fight. It's definitely a wasted ultimate. However, Shaz did end up using his Transcendence in the fight.
I mean, Gushue could turn this in China's favor if he lands a big shatter here of his own. I mean, you kind of see it from the Reinhardt POV, just playing that shield game. He connects with a few players.
Sound barrier's there.
No follow-up. The sound barrier comes through.
Self-destructing over the top here. Finland just looking over their shoulders. Fraggy studiously holds up the shield to make sure his team aren't affected by the self-destruct whatsoever. Gushue, Lijiang, and co all push back off the point here, and Gushue's a little bit isolated from the rest of his team. Hurriedly, he scurries back to his backline. Fraggy, cheeky attempt there to get that Earth Shatter in behind the shield. But the Chinese squad have run out of time in this first round. 100 to 17%.
So here's what I'm surprised of here in our first point, is that all we've heard from Team China, whether it was them themselves or the community, is that they were going to play some weird things. They weren't going to try and really kind of play triple tank drills. They fully committed to it there. They tried to kind of outdo Finland at it, which didn't seem to work. I think China is going to win this series. I think they got to use that unorthodox playstyle that they had in the group stage.
It is worth noting as well that control center on Lijiang Tower, the map that we just saw, you're kind of forced into playing that Reinhardt-centric composition in many cases. Many teams don't try and reinvent the wheel on that
very good Doom at this point.
You're absolutely right. It definitely can be. This next one also caters to Doomfist quite well as we head into map number 2 of this, well, stage number 2 of this first map. It's going to be Gardens here. So we see obviously like those 2 bridges is great for Faro. If Lee can find a concussive blast or keep pressuring Shaz in the backline, it's going to cripple the healing capacity of Finland. But he takes a bit of poke damage and is forced to back away rather fast. Lijiang going down early.
Yeah, and now you're not going to have that defense matrix to eat up any of those bullets that the Soldier 76 is raining down. And
better play Goats. Switch to Goats.
Switch up. So, let's see how Finland goes against this, right? They do have the 3 supports, but you're going to be playing Winston D.Va with a 76. The 76 is pretty easy to roll over in this situation, right? You use the speed boost, you get right in his face, can't really do much.
Davin's going to have a little bit of a tough time, with that 76 making a big impact. So many shields in the fight. And you can see Finland see this very tanky composition hurtling towards them like a Mack truck, and they realize they actually need to give some space over to China and try and, win the war of attrition by working them down with people like Davin 76, but Taimu gets a little bit too close for comfort. Davin trying to get some work done, but most of the shots have been pounded into Gushwe's shield just to make sure he can't protect the rest of his team. Oh, Shaz, it's a late transcendence. Leave had already found Davin, and Zappos was removed from the equation prior, so it does very little else other than prolonging the fight. It gives Finland a little bit of extra control percentage, but that's all they're going to get for this fight. Finland probably will switch now as well.
Yeah, and I think if Finland maybe, if Fraggy was able to stay alive a second longer, you may have used Primal Rage there because you knew you were going to switch. You can extend the point even longer, Absolutely. But not able to get it off. You switch, you don't get anything with that Primal Rage, but not too upset about it. You build up 40% the point at the beginning. It's not that bad.
Leaf has the Graviton Surge, so you do expect them to lead off with this particular ability in the fight, but it cannot be eaten. See where Zappos was standing. He was ready to eat up that Graviton Surge. Clever, I guess, for Leaf to sort of wait on that one, or did he?
Yeah, he ate it.
There you go, Leaf sort of straight into the Graviton Surge. Now, it is going to be an Earth Shatter laid down by Gushwe here, and that should allow China to come up in this fight, but it was more expensive than it otherwise would have been. And our observers obviously correctly indicated that Graviton from Leaf got eaten by the defense matrix.
Yeah, so Zappos, one of the best at eating the Graviton Surges. Also, when Anna's in the game, those biotic grenades. Have not really seen any of those big antis come out of Sky yet.
That is Zappos' job right now. Yep. Eat up those biotic grenades, eat up any Graviton Surges, and then just do damage outside of it. Try not to die.
Well, because the biotic grenade is such a huge cooldown, a huge ability here in this type of composition. You deny healing, and the other team's playing 3 healers. It's pretty decent value.
Look at how much charge he has. Look at how close he is. He gets another Graviton Surge. Gushwe charges in and says, "Don't mind if I do." And I wasn't quite invited to the party, Gushwe, but it's not like Finland really had a choice. Big Earth Shatter, 3 players knocked down. Gushwe now inside the Graviton, leaves there. Good body grenade from China to try and keep themselves alive, and it may have just paid off. Zappos knocked up against the wall. And again, it is Gushwe's Reinhardt headlining that particular fight with a beautiful Earth Shatter.
You land those big Earth Shatters like we did in the game earlier today. USA UK with fusions. It changes the course of the game as China 1 fight away here from taking this point. Taimu will have rally. That's all you're going to have at the beginning here. Shaz should be able to build up towards Transcendence. But here goes Gushwe. He's going right on in.
That's a ridiculously aggressive charge from Gushwe, who's trying to maybe knock Fraggy out so the self-destruct would hit, get rid of the Reinhardt shield. It didn't quite work, but the Reinhardts have traded each other off here in terms of life. Finland have a lot of health right now because Taimu started the fight off by using that rally ability. So the armor is definitely going a long way for them right now. 99 to 41% now. It's going to be nano boosted. Brigitte, yeah, it's pretty filthy. A lot of durability, especially if she pops her rally during the mid-fight. Zappos comes in now with that self-destruct. He finds 2. He absolutely needed to find Sky and Evil Tower. Lay it down. Shy now can't do too much more except try and swing and flail, no pun intended. But Gushwe's back in the fight. Zappos is in trouble and they got off the points.
Oh, no way.
Stone cold.
That's one of those moments. Yeah, you're too into it. Everything. You're starting to flip the point. It's going in your favor, and they just charge on off of it.
You hate to see it. You absolutely hate to see it. The fact of the matter is, though, late in that fight, Xayah is still a huge threat. All right, so you often see that fights begin with Graviton Surges, whether they work or if they get eaten in some cases or not. But if Xayah is able to remain in a fight, a fully charged Xayah has incredibly high damage over time, right? It's hard to tell sometimes because a lot of it's mitigated by shields or she's interrupted, or some Xayahs just don't get to 100 charge. But when they do, she functions effectively as a very robust, very tanky DPS.
Okay, so Finland will play Taimu on McCree, so you'll have McCree, Brigitte.
Bring back old Moo.
So this is a very strong composition also to burn down tanks, right? McCree does a ton of damage in a short window. We're able to get some of these tanks sweet. And interesting, China is not playing the shield tanks. They will not have the Reinhardt here. You're going to play Wrecking Ball Diva.
Not a huge problem for them because they're not going up against the Reinhardt either, so they're not more susceptible to an Earth Shatter, for example. But this is what Gushwe's trying to do. Drop in on the enemy team, try and isolate Taimu, remove him as quickly as possible. So Zappos' job now as a babysitter gets much harder because there's so much threat to the backline heroes like that McCree for Finland.
Well, I mean, the comp for Finland is very, very good against a Sombra as well, right? You have the stun from Brigitte and the flashbang from McCree, it's going to be a sound barrier already coming out here from Finland.
Unbelievably fast.
They're going to try and take some real estate closer to the point.
Oh, Leaf gets nothing with that ultimate, and Sky comes in fairly late for the Transcendence here. Again, they want to maintain control of the point for as long as they possibly can. Taimu's Deadeye is denied. Gushue removes him from the equation before he can get that one off, devastating as it would have been. And with the Transcendence, Shaz is clearing the mines. He can't be blown up or affected by them when he's in that form, so he's both giving healing while also literally doing janitorial work for Finland in this fight. Shaz goes down, so Shy was actually able to isolate him, but Sky is also removed. So there's Zenyatta now for China. That's a big part of their healing that's going to be missing. He was working towards his next Transcendence.
And Finland wants to commit to this fight, Mitch, because it's gone so long that if they don't kind of commit on this second attempt with players coming off of spawn, you're going to use so many ultimates, and then you're going to give up like 60% of the point. So they have to commit. Now they're moving on in. China backs out. They'll change some things up. Still pretty strong for China at the get-go, though.
I mean, they gained 36% while the fight was occurring. So 2/3 of their progress has actually come during the space of a very elongated fight. Shy is set up here to hit a huge EMP, and that is going to make things very hard for Taimi, for example, to escape. But more importantly, Zappas won't be able to use... we won't be able to prevent the damage on towards Taimi, right? Of course, Defense Matrix won't be able to, stop any damage. And that's when Taimi is really going to get crunched by someone like Gushue, for example. Shy is taken down, but he does get the EMP.
Yeah, but they're not going to be able to follow that up. He's so far away from the rest of the team at that point. You could see what he was trying to do. He was trying to connect with as many supports as possible. He sees Shaz just kind of hanging out there in the back. Looks like a very easy target. And he lands the EMP on him, but there's no follow-up. There's nobody that's able to close the gap to help him pick up some of those kills.
Yeah, and not having the Wrecking Ball anymore means that Gushue couldn't just wade into the back line and actually capitalize on that EMP in general. Zappas won't be targeted here. He knows that, so he can sit around the corner and try and mitigate as much projectile damage as possible. Taimu sitting very far back. That is what we definitely consider passive positioning for a McCree, but he has to play this way right now. There's so many things up here that can cause him problems. Davin blocks off that Earth Shatter, but Taimu is actually grounded right now. He manages to pick himself back up to his feet. He rolls forward into that engagement. He's got a lot of damage now. McCree's so good late in the fight for a cleanup, and that self-destruct gets 2! How was that even possible? Finland allowed themselves to lose both of their supports, or 2 of them at the very least, to that self-destruct. And now Gushue and the rest of China will absolutely oblige and step forward to finish the fight quickly.
And now do you have Taimu continue to play the McCree here, or do you have him switch? So, okay, all right, for a second there I thought we were going to see the Reaper, but they're just making that change because they need him to play the Brigitte. Davin is their Zarya player.
Taimu has done less damage than Fraggy, Davin, and Shaz on this McCree. And Zappas as well. So many factors of China's composition, like the Ryan, for example, are mitigating McCree's ability to actually connect with some of this damage, right? Earth Shadow doesn't really connect for Fraggy there. Most of China were able to vacate the premises, at least briefly, but now they're stuck in this choke. That definitely benefits Finland, and especially Fraggy, who's getting a lot of ultimate charge by just swinging the hammer at the encroaching Chinese players. Beautiful finish there from Finland in this fight, even with an Earth Shadow that didn't find its mark.
They'll have another Earth Shatter in the next fight, as it may very well be the last fight here, because Sky will be coming off the respawn right now, so you're going to have to wait for him. He has that Transcendence. You don't want to really go in without it.
Notice the corner play. Fraggy will always sort of play on the corner of doors and corridors to get free sweeps.
He baited that out.
Oh, he did. He actually charged away from it. That's beautiful. Now another ultimate needs to be drawn forth. Shy now with the Transcendence. He used his first, so Shaz is going to have a bit of more healing later on in the fight for the rest of his team. Gushue's down. Taimu finished the job. The self-destruct this time doesn't find any targets except for Zappas' mech. And Taimu playing a little bit safe right now, giving himself some distance, able to give that repair pack over towards Fraggy as he continues to push forward and keep swinging. Fraggy's done a lot of damage and has had a lot of ultimates, but Finland not able to take the point. This is where they absolutely need to be able to push forward with Davin. This late grab has to be the answer for them. It didn't get eaten, but it only catches Lijiang. He's charged up against the wall. He doesn't get kept alive. The mech is removed from the equation, but Finland have to get to the point. Overtime is ticking down. Shy finds 2. It's Fraggy and Davin both fall to the Brigitte. Unbelievable. China in a position to turn this around. Finland don't get a foot on the point, and they give away map number 1 to China. And we thought they wouldn't bring the tanks in, Matt, but they did. And they showed us they know exactly how they work.
You think towards the end of that second point, where Finland, they get off the point, they don't cap it. They're in a position where they could have won that point as well. Very close map number 1. I think this is a series that could very well go to the distance.
Obviously, we heard from Frankie, with the UK boys earlier on. She's also been spending some time with the Finnish squad and hanging out with them. So we're going to head over to her and get some insights on this match so far.
Finland are the kings of the notorious tank-heavy GOATS composition, with the rest of the EU region following their lead. And as we saw in Map 1, even China are giving the tank-heavy composition a shot. Finland have been scrimming against Tier 2 and 3 EU teams, a scene they call less developed than its NA counterparts. So when they reached Anaheim and began scrimming against experienced teams from other regions, they quickly realized the Asian and NA scenes have much more creative approaches to composition than expected. With little to no information about what China will be bringing to the table in the next map, it'll be up to Finland to get proactive and set the rules on the next map, rather than letting China set the agenda once again. Over to you guys.
Interesting indeed, Matt. Talking about setting the rules, this is Finland's house. I mean, those compositions is kind of their bread and butter, their go-to. And we saw some key interactions, I feel like, over the course of this map. But most importantly, Gushue continuing to look very, very good.
Yeah, he is a monster in that main tank role, regardless of which tank you're picking up there. I think it's going to be very difficult for Finland to continue to do this. It's interesting because you talk up the game, right? Oh, we're the best team here that plays GOATS, or we play it differently than everybody else. And then you lose map 1 where China kind of matches them. Pound for pound in that type of gameplay. So what do you do if you're Finland? Do you change the lineup, bring Linkser in, play something a little bit different? Do you kind of, because you don't know how China would react, right? Because let's say you switch over to play dive, maybe that's the style that China wants to play and they're just playing this because they feel this is their best chance. So then they give a different look at you, and maybe it's not the game you want, but maybe the game you can win. So I think that'll be the interesting thing moving forward in the series.
This McCree pick, pretty interesting, Matt. Taimu not ultimately able to have much of an impact. I do think that there was some respect from China offered to that. They tried to dive on Taimu multiple times with Gushue on Wrecking Ball, for example. And we saw a couple times he was just foiled. Defense Matrix was, employed to keep Taimu, safe, of course, from the autocannons. And then often he was just knocked back by Brigitte, certain heroes like that. So the switch there, we saw, Gushue go to Winston, Reinhardt. That's what I managed to come up with the goods. The Zarya battle is probably one of my favorite battles, though, in this particular match. Leave and Davin looking incredibly good. Both incredibly high charge Zaryas to have an impact late in the fights, but there are substitutions, Matt, coming into this next map. Finland especially has other options, but they're not the only ones. Crystal now comes in for Team China, which is very interesting. I've seen him play like a multitude of hit-scared heroes. He looked very dominant, over during their group stage performances. So this is just another bullet in the chamber for China.
I mean, I know China just showing off their roster, right? I know Linkser coming in here for Finland, for Taimu. It's interesting. Davin, I know you look at him, right? Like we mentioned, he wasn't in Overwatch League. He's going to probably be the DPS that stays in the lineup the most in this team.
It's because he's such an excellent Zarya player, right? He lends himself so well to the kind of composition and the kind of setup that Finland are wanting to go for. Now, if they do shy away from that one, then Davin, incredibly prolific Tracer player, is a big part of Team Giganti winning contenders a couple of seasons ago. But since then, we've definitely seen him play more tanky roles. And he, obviously not having been in the Overwatch League, has been playing in a scene that is very saturated with teams who want to play comps without DPS heroes at all, so just tanks and support. So he's very familiar with his style of play.
And this is the exact Giganti roster that won contenders. So if there was a team here who had an advantage in terms of chemistry or whatnot, you would think it would be these 6 players representing Finland right now. And I think Linkser coming in changes a lot of things. If you're China, what do you expect him to play? He can play so many different heroes. Does he try and play Widowmaker? Do we see some Hanzo? Do we see Genji? What do we see come out from Linkser? There's so many different ways that Finland can use him and work him into different compositions that it's going to force China to react.
We were under the impression as well that Finland would just try and force enemy teams to play that GOATS composition, that triple tank, triple support comp, and they would always beat them at their own game. They didn't actually have to force China to do that in map 1 much at all. China said, well,
that's fine,
we'll happily do this. And obviously China are playing the permutation of this composition that features Ana quite heavily. They put a lot of faith in that Bardic Grenade, of course, grenade that prevents any healing for the players that are hit by it. So, a composition that has 3 supports, because it needs a lot of healing, gets shut down very easily by the grenade, but the grenade is also easy to stop.
Well, I'm happy you brought up the grenade because, I'm usually always looking at the minimap and whatnot. We didn't see like a ton, or even when we see from free cam, you didn't see a lot of those anti-heals come through. So it's interesting because you figure if they're not getting a lot of value out of the nade, you know, nano boost obviously with some of the new adjustments where it heals, the burst heals really quick. I mean, that's nice, but you know, Ana, you know, the best thing at least in my opinion, in her kit is that nade. And if you're not getting a ton of value at it, you figure on the other side when they're running the Zen, they have the Discord orbs and whatnot, they're going to get a ton more value.
Over time, you can obviously heal the Zen without having to sort of worry about the target that has your Harmony Orb on it. I mean, this is something we want to unpack as the series goes on and look at how these two teams maybe play the same comp similarly. But for those of you that are not familiar with how hybrid maps work in general, we do have a way to show you how it works.
This is hybrid. Two teams face off as either defenders or attackers. The attacking team has a limited amount of time to first capture a payload and then escort it along a set path containing 2 checkpoints. To capture the payload, the attackers need to stand within its range for a set amount of time. Defenders can delay capture progress by also standing in range. The attackers must work together to clear away the defenders. If successful, they score 1 point and gain additional time on the clock. The payload only moves forward when an attacker stands near it. Defenders can delay the payload's movement by standing nearby. To get moving again, the attackers must clear away the defenders by force. If even one attacker is capturing the objective or on the payload when the time runs out, the game enters overtime. This extends play indefinitely until the attackers are either cleared away or they gain more time by reaching a checkpoint. Every time the payload reaches a checkpoint, the attackers score 1 point and gain additional time on the clock. The round ends when the payload reaches the destination or when time runs out. Teams switch sides each round. Whichever team scores the most points and escorts the payload farthest wins.
Yes, that would make hybrid our next map in the series, and it will be Hollywood, which is definitely a curious particular map because it features, well, some features that don't exactly lend themselves to, you know, being able to play, you know, tanky, immobile comps that easily, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of high ground towards the second stage of the map. So you would think that's not a really great area for triple tank, triple support.
I mean, they're bulky, but they can't climb.
You bring in somebody like Linkser. It's a really good spot for Genji. Really good spot for Hanzo and Widowmaker and heroes like that. So fits his hero pool a little bit better. Also, Zappis should be pretty familiar with this map. I believe this is like one of the only maps he played for Florida.
This was literally the only map
I think he played like a handful of times, and he played this a ton for Florida.
And, you know, tough for him because when he played on the Florida roster, they were playing like NYXL on this particular map and like top teams. And we saw,
go out, you'll be fine.
I mean, the thing about Zappis is that people don't realize Zappis started as a DPS player. He was a very prolific McCree player early on. Then he became a support player.
He always played like weird heroes too. Like he played like Mei a decent amount of times.
Well, I mean, basically he was able to give birth to like triple tank or quad tank as it was known back then. Obviously comps used 4 tanks because he simply wanted to play Ana. He was a DPS player on his team, but he said, no, I want to play Ana. They're like, well, I guess we'll just build around this. And that was how, well, one of the ways, I guess, how, you know, that quad tank tyranny developed over Europe a while back now. Geez, more than a year.
And it's that's why I love Zappis as a player. Like, you know, somebody who, you know, obviously was in Overwatch League, but, you know, could be again in the future, is that he can do so many different things. Like, if you need to, you know, somebody to just pick up a role in a few days and play it, like, he is, you know, a very talented player in that regard. Like, he's able to figure anything out.
Which I think is why he's well suited to playing D.Va, for example. Yes. Because D.Va, depending on what team composition either you have or what your enemy has, the way you play is very different. Like, are you trying to be more defensive and you know, really keep that McCree alive? Or are you really trying to shut down the enemy Ana or Widowmaker?
D.Va as a hero over time is one of the most interesting ones in Overwatch because, you know, for a while, right, when remember the defense matrix was long, like, she would always see play. D.Va's always really been kind of in and around competitive play, and she would always see play because it's great on defense, right, being able to use the defense matrix, keep people alive, whatnot. And then when, you know, that kind of got brought down a little bit, and then she got the micro rockets.
She was adjusted.
Then she became more offensive, right? So I think D.Va is one hero you can play in so many different ways that a player like Zappis definitely takes advantage of the kit. China, this is going to be, you know, all-out aggression from them. They're going to have the Doomfist Genji combination. Doomfist very strong right now in the meta. in combo that with either Sombra or Genji. You see Finland going with the Sombra instead of the Genji on
Doomfist does not like to linger. He likes to get into these fights and get out quick after finding himself a brace of kills. First things first, he drops down towards the low ground here as China have wasted no time in coming towards the point. They are playing a dive-centric composition, which means they literally want to dive on you. There's a mutual knockdown between the two of them, but I guess what? Leave had a little bit more protection than Linkser did in that case, and Fraggy had already fallen. So Finland trying to go for, you know, a very similar composition defensively, one that also wants to get aggressive, finds out that perhaps they just extended a little bit too far, or could never really get started.
It looks like they're going to go back for a touch here as Davin tries to get a hack off and leave. That rocket punch sends him flying right into the wall. Right to his death is, now they're going to have to back up off the point, and this will go over to China very quickly.
Linkser finding himself a little bit outclassed so far on the Doomfist position. Leave has had a lot of success early on in these fights. And you notice that China now, especially using these more mobile heroes, they've got to forge ahead very quickly and catch, if they can, some stragglers for Finland as they were pushed into quite an ungraceful rout.
And I love the shot we got in the free cam at the beginning when both Doomfist just kind of connected with each other, Linkser and Leave. You know, when Leave got up and Linkser died, you just saw how fast his Doomfist Leaves was able to get to the high ground and put pressure. It forces supports back, and that's really the kind of positioning when you force them out of that shot that opens up the map.
Crystal now as well, just charging up his Dragon Blade, but he won't have a chance to use it quite yet because they've been hacked. The EMP connects from Davin and now the Sound Barrier from Big Goose to follow up. All of China are essentially clustered together over the payload itself, and that's a ripe opportunity for Frankie to drop in, get a lot of damage, and also help remove Crystal. As you can see, Leave is getting out of here. Beam me up, Scotty, he says, and he does use that Meteor Strike, but he drops immediately back down on top of Linkser and actually finds him. So he's right in the backline currently. It's up to Frankie here to try and keep the payload contested and try and find some kill opportunities. He was close to getting Leave, but the healing from Sky was able to keep that Doomfist alive, and Frankie comes away with nothing.
And it's interesting, they use the Meteor Strike to land right on top of Linkser and take him out, but Linkser then comes back off respawn. That's going to be a big pick on the Sky. Sky had the nano boost. Anna in this composition is providing a ton of the healing. This will be the Dragon Blade, though. Let's see if Crystal can get anything.
Perfect opportunity here for Crystal to come forward. He's looking for Davin, forced to reflect for just a moment, but he gets one. Just one, though, as Linkser shuts him down. The sleep dart was there. I saw that, Shaz. Don't worry. Lijiang, sojourn in jail very briefly. Didn't have to get out of jail free card, perhaps. Trying to drop back for some health, and Finland finally gained control. But notice how deep in the map that fight was occurring. How deep in the map China chose to actually start that. They were starting that fight in stage 3 of the map, when technically they haven't even cleared stage 2. They tried to buy themselves a lot of space to push the payload safely.
You can see Linkser knows now that the pressure's going to come up onto the high ground. Taking this angle, because if you're going to have Crystal try and launch up into the air to snipe him, it's a much easier shot for Linkser as it is for Crystal.
Davin there just doing some scouting work. Getting a bit of damage. He wanted to make sure that EMP would be ready for this fight. So Widow versus Widow now. It looks like teams are willing to mirror each other, and that's the EMP now. It lands on both of those tanks, which is important. It means that Lijiang is going to have to eject from the mech. He can't do much about that, but Fraggy goes deep. Despite the fact that they did hit a decent EMP on China, they were still able to crack back with enough damage to remove the main tank for Finland. So it's a one-for-one trade, but Finland were the ones that used EMP in this fight. They need more.
So Gushue will use Primal Rage to get up to the high ground, and don't really mind even being hacked. You have no chance of dying here. That'll be the nano boost. Let's see what they decide to do with it. Look at these supports. They're getting so low.
Big Goose is in deep trouble. He's lucky to get away. Gushue had to just sort of take his foot off the gas for a moment and round back and help the rest of his team do a Zappos on the payload. But China, they are so good at playing this aggressive brand of Overwatch, Matt. And Finland have been getting isolated and taken down one at a time. Now China look like the ones that are methodical.
And when Gushue gets the nano boost and he goes in deep and he kills Shaz, Big Goose is there and he's peeling all the way back. And even though he doesn't kill him, Big Goose is in no position to provide any healing to his teammates. And you've already killed Shaz, so you deny all healing on the point. Then you fight that if you're China with the remaining members. It's a big time play.
Transcendence in this fight, China can afford to, jump out of the kiddie pool and actually get some brawling done here. He's very close to Primal as well. There's a lot of stalling available. Headshot connects there, but not quite enough to remove Davin. Finland use Sound Barrier, but they're not making much use of it now, right? They use it just for survivability, just for a chance to disengage. Zappos gets Sky somehow. It must have just peeked out into that one. And now Davin is very well charged up. Gushue now again wants to continue to sow chaos in the ranks. A consistent theme for this Chinese squad thus far. but Davin wants to go for that backline. A lot of damage there, and Fraggy's already fallen to the rampaging Gushue. That's something that really couldn't be afforded by Finland.
And it's actually incredible that he's alive. He primal rages, but he has a Discord orb on him the entire time, and he's able to just use the movement capabilities of Winston to dodge fire and also put down some damage as China's getting very close to finishing this map with a very good time.
3 people on the Graviton Surge, even a grenade on top of the Transcendence. There's no way anyone from China's dying right now. Fraggy needs to charge up an Earth Shatter, and then he needs to connect it. There's a lot of things that need to be satisfied here, but right now he's trying to make sure China's backline doesn't get free damage on the rest of his teammates. Now he knows he needs to push forward. He gets a repair pack briefly, and that's the Earth Shatter, but Lijiang was the only one close enough to be damaged by it. Everyone from China can sit back at long range and just pummel this shield down. So much damage available now that Self-Destruct coming in over the top. It does get Zappers out of his mech. Fraggy wants to return to the point. Lee pushes up. Links are knocked into the background here. He tries to charge forward. A late Soundberry coming in. It won't quite be enough though. Even that, Linksa has to step back. He got hit by a Bardic Grenade and Gushue drops down. Lee still staying in the front line here. Fraggy's getting low. The War of Attrition is looking pretty good for the Chinese squad here. Up in the air is Linksa knocked. Big Goose trying to come forward. He has a little bit of health in that Lucio, but again, it's 6 versus 1 for him. It's all too hard. Linksa trying to stall things out on the payload now on a Self-Destruct to buy some time. It gets the DC on Lijiang, but again, who is there from Finland? The answer, no one!
Gushue with those 2 primal rages towards the end. Get this, he doesn't die at all there. Doesn't die at all the whole first side. And plays the Winston the entire time. He's getting a primal rage every 57 seconds. I mean, obviously, like the guys talk about on the desk, you know, during their group stage, he was getting a ton of resources, but even still, that is crazy.
This debut, you call it a debut, I guess, for Gushue. He did obviously play, of course, in the group stages earlier on. This reminds me of the first time I really got to see Miro in action. That first World Cup, our inaugural year, where Winston play was revolutionized, and it's been done yet again.
Yeah.
But Gushue has been able to find a balance between being so aggressive and yet still staying alive, and a lot of it, in honesty, has to do with the rest of his teammates here. I think he has, you know, incredible sort of flex tanks in Lijiang and leave if required. But that's incredible. That was a great push. Time on the clock still for China.
Yeah.
They really barreled through that first and second point.
You know what's interesting too is that when they have a chance to reset and change some of the pieces, they stay with the Widowmaker there toward the end. And they really saw the smart play coming out from China. They knew that Fraggy had that Earth Shatter. Everybody playing so deep. So Fraggy had 2 options there. Die with Shatter and not get anything, or just shatter one of the tanks. And I believe he just connects with Lijiang, the Diva player for China, and everybody else just sits in the back there, healing him while he's on the ground. He gets right back up like nothing ever happened.
And Fraggy, yeah, that's right. I mean, his shield was just getting pelted at long range.
Nothing he can do.
I really think China showcased a fantastic understanding of how to play a poke-based composition, one that obviously does damage from extreme ranges. And I kind of like the setup here. So they're playing, look, this is not super uncommon to see, I suppose. This is a composition that makes it very hard to dive on China. A leave it on the Junkrat is going to make it very risky. It's easy to get caught in his traps. Gushue is very hard to shift. And Crystal on the McCree, well, they need to keep him safe. But if they do, he's going to be doing a lot of work.
It's interesting. You know, China could almost play this how we see teams play, you know, Horizon Lunar Colony in the past, where you can kind of sit on the high ground, use a lot of this damage.
See?
Yeah.
That's why you don't dive this.
And then what happens here is if Finland goes back to the tank game that they always play, you know, Lijiang can just get on the point and contest. All the damage from the Junkrat and the McCree can come down, and you can just kind of play this poke game and always just contest the point.
So you can play both the anti-dive style and also, you know, a good long-range poke composition with this setup here. So Lee gets jumped on. He knew it was going to happen. He even gets Biotic Grenaded. That's what's so crazy about that. When you have no healing available and you're down to 50 health, your days are essentially numbered. But the rest of China are able to keep him alive. Honorable mention to Lijiang, of course, because without you know, that defense matrix up, he and Crystal would have died very quickly.
So Finland will commit to still playing dive. I think this is probably, it's so hard to
I think they're just trying to get EMP here, I think.
Yeah, and then maybe you switch after that, but it's like if you go to the tank route, I almost feel like it's even worse because you're just going to keep beating over rip tires over and over again. And look, I mean, Gushue and Lijiang can just contest like this, and they have the trap set right behind the Orisa shield, so you can't dive through there.
Oh no, Linksa goes in, but the trap was there. Leave left him some milk and cookies. Unfortunately, it wasn't a good time. Tries to come in with the Dragon Blade, and now Fraggy knows that he's essentially done. Gushue on the cleanup. Finland are essentially, they're out of this one. They've got 2 more minutes left, and they need to come up with a different composition. And here's the problem, right? without Shaz having clear line of sight, it's very hard to get enough healing onto Finland, right?
Oh, no,
it's only Big Goose that are provided. Yeah, Zappos will go down late. So when you dive into the cafe and when you're obscured from view from Shaz on that Ana, there's not much healing. So Finland needs to get in, get out quickly, and get the job done. But China's setup does not allow them to do this.
And Finland wants to stay on this because they want to hit this big EMP, but take a look at Leave. Not a real great chance you're going to hit him with this EMP unless you just wander over here behind the bushes. But
the trap placed down just in case someone finds him while he's channeling the
I think
fire.
Davin knows he's there, and he uses the ramp to try and connect with him. And he does actually connect with Leave, so really smart play there from Davin, but he ends up getting taken out.
Interesting positioning from Evil Tower there. Now it is going to be Leave coming with a Riptide, but actually all gets used on getting rid of Fraggy. Definitely not an efficient use of that explosive ultimate, but it does take most of the Primal Rage Winston's health away. Leave eventually falls to the self-destruct. And Lynx are now getting back behind the payload. A timely sound barrier here for Finland. Just when they needed a little bit of a quick pick-me-up, they've got it. But now they need to finish the job against these big tanks. Look at the healing that's there. Lijiang just got a huge health boost given to him by Sky. The grenade landed. Lynx are now awkwardly looking at his opponents, wondering, trying to find a way to get into that backline. Lynx are almost going down there. Zappos to the rescue, saving him from the McCree after he hits that flash. Now Lynx gets a nano boost on the Dragonblade, but there's no real targets for him to hit, man.
Yeah, but even so, you know, China's doing a tremendous job here on defense. You're going to have Crystal switch over to Tracer. They're not done fighting this. They're going to fight it till the end. See, Lynx takes out Lijiang. There goes Gushue. So you lose both your tanks. That'll pretty much be the point. So now you have, so this is what they used to play back in the day in Contenders, right? A lot of dive. David on the Tracer. Lynx are on Genji. We'll see if we see it towards the second stage of this game. So, you know, the second point. So this is the, yep, that's the EMP I was talking about. And he actually connects with Leaf behind him. Didn't even know he was there, but. So you don't want to play Tracer in the second stage. You'll have Davin switch off.
I like that decision making there to actually EMP and try and catch Evil Tower later, because no other hero on Finland really had the ability to reach Zenyatta in that field. They weren't playing any snipers. That's why Evil Tower's playing in such a confident looking position. So he gets rid of the shield, he finishes the job. And now we have Lynx over on towards the sniper here. Playing Genji Tracer for long periods of time makes you very susceptible to team switching to Brigitte and just making it impossible for you to get into the backline. So I like this switch.
It shows the confidence that China has in Crystal and his Widowmaker, as they're willing to match Lynxers, one of the better Widowmakers in the Overwatch League. Lijiang gets hit before he can get back in his mech, but it's going to be 2 kills in favor of China.
Fraggy needs to find his kill now. Crystal had the grappling hook available though. That was the only way Fraggy really saves his final, gives his team a shot. Now he looks awkward because he's out of position. He's all the way behind China. If he gets found and removed, it's a huge stagger.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to die to Lijiang in the back of the spawn.
Lijiang's not going to kill him, though. This is incredibly bad for Fraggy. There's no way that he can, how do I put this, voluntarily go back to respawn.
Fraggy, yeah, look how far away he is.
He can't do it. Like, there's no map to jump off of here.
He's going to primal to go all the way back.
It's, no idea. I mean, he might be able to find a kill here, but that was nice actually from Crystal. Sort of feinting that he was going to the high ground, baits Fraggy to chase him. Fraggy has a lot of jumps to use as short cooldown, but he can't do it all the time. So Zappos and Sky are traded out here. The Ana definitely a trade up for Finland, but they lose Davin as well. The Brigitte has to survive later on into the fights, and for Finland, they've not been making it work.
It doesn't seem like much, you know, those few seconds in the Primal Rage used, but now those few seconds result in, you know, ults for the opposing team at some point, right? And, you know, you're kind of, your team sitting around and not really kind of pushing the tempo here on offense. So Fraggy will switch to Reinhardt here. Is usually don't see Rein Zarya even, you know, with triple tanks here, is because there's so much verticality. I mean, look at Gushue, you can just jump down, then jump right back up.
Chaz just got completely matched there. That's the problem. Gushue can start the fight however he likes.
And he can get out as ever he wants.
Or not. And that may be the case. He can just stay around and maybe just cause a bit of a ruckus here now in the bar. And Gushue and co completely dominating Finland as they try and push into the saloon. Here's the problem. Finland are playing a composition that says, come and fight us. It needs China to jump on a Finland to have any effect, but Finland can choose how they do this. They have high ground. They can drop down from their perches and get into the backline. You know, remove Shaz, especially early in the fight. That's what happened. Finland lost Shaz right at the beginning of the fight, and it's going to be hard to keep him alive against this setup for China. They're looking so good, and we're in overtime already now for Finland to try and get even second stage done. That might be it. Zappos taken down by Lijiang. Only 4 players left on the side of Finland. Here it is, looking dire indeed. Sky sets a nano boost away, and Gushue is going to be more than happy to lap up the distressed Omnic. Jumping forward now, and it will just be Lynx that'll be removed, and overtime is about done. And China, oh, they're more than one step ahead, I'll tell you that. Miles miles ahead of Finland.
There in China on defense, you can have your Ana, Widowmaker, and Zen sit up on the high ground. You know, the tanks can just keep jumping up and down whenever they get one weak, commit to the fight, and then using the movement abilities of D.Va and Winston, get out of there harm-free. Guxue finishes at 42 limbs, 17 final blows, 1 death. That
unbelievable stuff. And he is definitely a superstar in the making. 2-0 is the score right now. China lead the series and Finland have not looked themselves. We'll be back after the break just to see how this wears out. Finland must find a new level or they'll be done.
The Overwatch World Cup is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC of the Overwatch World Cup, and by T-Mobile, America's fastest unlimited network.
Millions of matches streamed. A bit of real-time trash talk. Over 5,000 eagle emojis. And being the first to post whatever this is. For Overwatch players and fans, every second counts. T-Mobile is the network that can keep up, so you can dominate the game.
2018 Overwatch World Cup is brought to you in part by Corsair, T-Mobile, Samsung SSD, and NVIDIA.
The question that we are looking to answer here at BlizzCon 2018, as China is currently up against Finland 2-0 here going into the half. Welcome back to the desk, everybody, and wow. So I did not expect this.
I did.
I'm going to be, okay, all right. You know what? Fine. Bren, why did you expect this?
I am looking right now. This is how I make my predictions on teams these days when it comes to Overwatch. I compare the main tank players.
You just throw darts at the wall.
Also, but I like to keep that a secret because other people will judge me. So, but for me personally, I compare the main tank players. And before I made my prediction on China in the pre-show earlier, I said I picked up Guxue, right? This player who I was sleeping on China when I was casting the Thailand stop in particular. I watched them play, and now I'm most definitely not sleeping on these guys because look at this comparison in statistics. It's humongous.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Guxue had 1 death, and that was on Orisa. So his Winston stats absolutely perfect.
Ridiculous.
And he's just been beasting it. Fraggy's had a slightly different role, I would say, and Fraggy's been punished really hard whenever he tries to go for those solo plays in the back. He got slept and was the first death when he was on defense. So there's a big difference here, but Guxue has just been given all the space he needs to run rampant over Finland.
Well, okay, so, I mean, but why? Like, this is, I'm just shocked. I'm honestly just genuinely shocked. And Reinforce, you were very firm. You said that Finland is going to win. What's been going on?
Well,
What's
it feels
the problem?
like it's USA all over again, isn't it, a little bit? Like you pick Hollywood when you're so known for your triple tank, triple support composition. And of course, Finland can play dive compositions. They have Davin, Linkser, and Taimu's not that great at diving, but the other two are. So you can still play these dive compositions, right? And Finland should be able to pull it off. But why not play to your strength? Instead, you opt for Hollywood, which is not known to be the best triple tank triple support map. You got so much high ground on the second point, and that just allows China instead to go with the momentum of this series and get away with it. So Finland are not playing to their strengths, and I'm very disappointed to see that this is the style they're opting to play. Linkser, fantastic Genji, but we didn't see much of it, to be honest, throughout Overwatch League because Houston Outlaws had such troubles with hit scan. And so Linkser is forced into a role of having to adapt to the rest of the team when you're not playing to his strengths. And that's what you need to do in the World Cup. You need to be able to play to your strengths, just like Canada, which are opting for a Sombra Doomfist composition.
Yeah.
And that's all they do. They're fantastic at that. But Finland, they're trying to juggle 3-4 compositions and be good at everything.
Well, it feels like China's playing to their strength of just being a weird team to like play against, though.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter, it seems, what composition Finland run. We saw them run a huge amount of that triple tank, triple support on Lijiang, and China's playstyle just knocks Finland off their game repeatedly. You see China, even when they're running the triple tank, triple support, which has a lot of set combinations that you run up. You know, you've got your Brigitte there, they shield bash, they try and take advantage of the fact there's no shield. China are doing none of that. They're running around the map, really weird style, spreading out with their tanks, which is honestly,
in a way,
you wouldn't
classic
expect it
Chinese
to work.
Overwatch as well.
It really is. It's
like,
madness. They're throwing, but they're throwing so much pressure at Finland and forcing them to adapt so quickly that Finland are failing to do so. There are ways to be able to punish Team China and the playstyle that they're doing, but when Finland try to punish it, they're making bigger mistakes themselves. And so this adaptation period is so important.
Are you busting out the hat right now, puppy?
Whoa! Have you lost faith already?
Ye of little faith.
Okay, well, hold on. We're gonna have this conversation off camera real fast. And for now, though, we're gonna send it over to Emily. We actually have some special guests. We have the Chinese Hearthstone team here with Emily. What's going on?
Hey, thank you guys. It's Emily here, and I'm with the fabulous Team China from the Hearthstone Global Games. So say hi, you guys.
Hello. I'm Yolao.
Yeah, standing next to me is Yulove. Now, Yulove, how does it feel to represent Team China here at BlizzCon?
首先我们能代表中国参加这个比赛，然后感谢中国的水友，因为我们都是你们票选出来的。然后我们带着梦想来到了嘉年华的比赛， 然后我们拿到了目前4强的一个成绩，也谢谢你们。我们希望在明天的决赛能够拿到我们心目中的世界冠军。
So he says that he feels, I mean, the whole team feels incredibly honored to be here because they couldn't have done it without you, the fans. And so not only are they representing Team China, but they're also representing, you know, they're also bringing over dreams. So thank you guys so much for your support, and we hope to bring home the championship. Now, the second question is, you guys made it to top 4 at Hearthstone, and Team China here for the Overwatch League might also make the top 4. So how does it feel that both China teams might be closer to getting the championship? 那么就像我刚才讲的，就是炉石传说进了前4强，那么守望先锋联盟的中国队呢，很可能也会进4强，有什么感受呢？
我刚才也说了，我们都是怀揣着梦想，然后对着暴雪游戏的热爱来到了暴雪嘉年华。我们都希望在这个舞台当中实现自己的梦想，拿到了我们心目中的世界冠军。我希望我们中国队都能如愿吧。
都能如愿。Thank you so much. Well said. So he feels incredibly be here. It's been a dream, and it's probably a dream for both teams. So thank you so much to Blizzard Entertainment for making this happen, and we hope for the best. Go Team China! 中国队加油! All right, back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you so much, Emily, for that one. And I tell you, man, China's having a grand old time here in Anaheim because they have been just on a clinic. And the question is, can they keep it going, though? So we're off camera. We had a chance to talk about what's going on over here. Not really. Johnny.
Yeah.
What's on the line?
This is what's on the line.
What's going on?
Is this what's on the line? Is this what's on the line?
I think Finland have a little more on the line than whether or not you get to put a dunce hat on.
Speak for yourself. My reputation as an analyst is in danger.
His reputation.
I need Finland to get back into it. Reverse sweep.
I think they can, though. I think that's an important point, is that Finland are not out of this. If there's any team that I expect to go on a reverse sweep, I think Finland adapting at the halftime is eminently possible with the coaching staff that they have behind them. They are an incredibly strong team. If they stick to their strengths and map pick accordingly or get nice maps that China selects because they'll be going on the winning streak, I think that they would be, or have a possibility of being able to do the reverse sweep there, but they have to tidy up their gameplay.
I don't know if that's going to be possible, realistically. From what I've seen of China, I feel like this team, everything I've seen from them, I underestimated them in Bangkok. I'm not going to be doing it again. I feel like they're going to be able to take this.
All right, well, it is 2-0 in favor of China. So much on the line here. In the desk, this dunce hat. I'm so glad I don't have to wear this or make any predictions, and I think that's for the best. So there's a lot of pressure over here, but there's also a lot of pressure on that stage for Finland. Can they bounce back and make the reverse sweep happen? Let's send it over to your casters to get this one rolling.
Johnny, how is your reputation on the line when Bren's reputation as an analyst is literally built on going for the Chinese team every time? And this would be the first time he would ever be correct.
He always tries to downplay the teams, and then he bigs them up like once they start winning, but he always picks them.
No, the classic Bren is when
good.
Classic Bren is pick a team, they go 2-0, then he switches teams over and he goes to the other team at halftime. Either way, it has just been halftime, and as you can see behind us, China are well and truly in the lead in this particular match, man. It all started, of course, on Lijiang Tower, where they looked shakier, but they came out with a composition similar to Finland and beat them at their own game.
Yeah, and I mean, even going back as far as the group stages, I know when we were doing those preview shows, we thought that China would make it out of their group stage. We thought they would be a good team. I don't think we expected them to really kind of push towards like the upper echelon of the teams that I thought we had in the Overwatch World Cup, but I also don't think we really know how good of a main tank they were bringing in Gushui as.
In all fairness as well, the group stage in which China participated was fraught with a lot of great teams.
Yeah.
Also, Denmark pushed them to the very limit. Australia took them to a map 5. Like, it was very competitive. So it's tough to take a team's temperature at a tournament when they either win everything or they sort of, have very close games for every match. It all depends, Matt. But it doesn't really matter because China are here now with the 2-0 over Finland, who, of course, took South Korea to 5 maps at their own qualifier. So throw that out the window, all your expectations, and use this in front of you now as a way to gauge these two teams. Hanamura is map number 3. Finland are on the attacking side here, playing definitely a tanky composition. Is that a Symmetra from Linksa?
Yeah, so this is something that I have been doing in competitive. So you actually teleport everybody to the point, and you get behind them. It's pretty nasty. There's 0 time to react to that.
Oh my, they're all on the point already. And Veltel is taken down straight away. Now, Lynx's teleporter's done, but it's only needed to be one way in this particular case. They're definitely not pressing S. They're not backing away at all.
It's super funny. I never actually thought a professional caliber team would use that strategy, but I think we were playing a few games, like maybe it was a week or so, and we kind of ran the same thing, but we ran a Bastion just because.
Definitely wouldn't have used that as any indication that any player in their right mind would want to use it in a competitive match, but here we are.
Well, look, I mean, it's really devastating. You can't. I mean, what other kind of mechanic in a shooter game or a game like Overwatch where you can just be behind everybody pretty much instantaneously? So it's not really a way you can react to positioning. Let's see what they decide to do with it here. You're probably only staying on it because you're rolling a little bit.
Can't you just do the same thing? I mean, you can essentially put yourself onto the point or onto the high ground.
It's not as good here, though, I feel like.
Crystal on the main, just trying to get that wall up. She does. Now, Frankie on the low ground here. They're getting frozen up. He's forced to back away here. And yeah, the rest of Finland kind of want to about face. They lost Big Goose right at the start of the fight. It's exactly what, we did see being done to Team UK in that first match. The Doomfist is nasty. Crystal puts him on ice. Headshots galore.
There's something about the Mei headshots that are just
incredibly satisfying.
Satisfying and also devastating. So, you're going to have so China, obviously, Mei and Doomfist, not tanks, but two of the bulkier of DPS characters that you have. So you do have a large HP pool, and you do have also a really healthy source of damage. So see how they try and get through the top here on the high ground for Finland, because if you're going to try and play this comp, you can get punched right into the wall, split off, and you see right there they're put in a corner, and here's a meteor strike.
Yeah. Oh no! And there is just no way of getting out of that one. The entirely of Finland are just frozen in place, and Leave brings his own kind of Space Jam.
Oh, that is filthy. Yeah, I mean, Finland, they were like, hey, let's get up here and control the high ground. And they were like, all right, Mei around the corner. Where's the Mei wall? It's like, oh, well, there's a meteor strike up in the sky, and it's like, let's back up. Oh, wait, we can't. Now we're all dead.
Finland make the switch
go
here.
Again,
yeah, I mean, slightly different comp. They bring the McCree here, so they do want to put pressure on Leave.
Okay,
and just like this, Leave and Crystal at long range. Both those heroes are super susceptible to McCree, which is not something you hear very often nowadays, especially in the way that the metagame of Overwatch has panned out. There we go, Lijiang, no, backs away from the pillar, is stunned back. You can see Finland are trying to incrementally take space on this point B here. Crystal now down, so Linkser has very much done his job. He's found both of the priority targets that McCree's are looking for here, and he's dispatched them without dying himself. Now, Leave is back in the fight. He's returned to the fray, as it were, but Linkser has a dead eye from the high ground here. This could be nasty. He gets Leave as he tries to hide behind a pillar, and Finland are definitely getting rolling now.
China does have the ability to stall this out, though. Here's going to be the Transcendence. Lijiang does get taken out by Linkser. Now you're going to be able to do the Mei stall, right? You have the ice block now, going to heal herself up. It extends the time that they're able to get players back.
I mean, Linkser, they're clever. He knew he could get that kill through the Blizzard. Although the Transcender, should I say, Blizzard gets dropped down now. Crystal off to the side of the point, doesn't have an ice block available, and he is taken out pretty quickly. Sky and Evil Tile have had a chance to sit under the bubble of the Winston at the back and continue to give healing to the rest of their team. But now that time has expired, they now have to face the music here, and Linkser was hoping for more than just Lijiang here, but have to settle. Gooshwade now down to him. The extra Deadeye damage helped him blow out the bubble, and this Linkser man is starting to get rolling. The McCree looking much better for Finland than it did earlier on in this series, and Leave can't get much done. Just makes a fancy entrance as the point is taken, and that was definitely an improvement for Team Finland here.
Really good adjustments from Finland. Linkser obviously connecting on those shots as McCree up from the high ground. What allows him to have such a good time, though, is back to that Symmetra push. Just think about when you're playing at home, just what a weird feeling it is to have an entire team behind you. But then, so here's the other kind of odd part. When you see the teleporter going down, you're banking on everybody going through. What if everybody doesn't go through? What if everybody turns and Anna stays on the other side, hits everybody who turns with a nade? Now everybody's dead. So there's like not a ton of great, like, it's like you turn, you may live, you may die. You just look forward, they get behind you, you're definitely dead. So there's not like really a great way to play around that. Really nice strategy there.
And Anna can go through, for example, the teleporter if she gets dived on, you know what I mean? She has,
go right back.
She has options. It's a two-way street. So Finland show off Symmetra here, and how obviously her rework in recent times sort of puts her in a position to be more impactful now. With to relocate your entire team in a pinch is very strong in this game.
You also just don't know, and you see the owner.
Yeah, Hancho.
new Overwatch League team, so
we cannot wait to see what that franchise is going to bring to the Overwatch League, right? I mean, that Chinese region is going to be bursting with teams onto the scene now, not just the Dragons, but of course, Hangzhou, Guangzhou are also going to be there. I mean, I'm super excited for that.
Chengdu.
And Chengdu. Don't know what, all these teams' names are or their logos yet, so still that anticipation. And I mean, there's players on this Chinese roster you'd have to say would be looked at very closely for those owl spots.
China on offense. They won't have a Symmetra. Didn't expect a Symmetra come out from China, but didn't expect it from Finland either. They'll play dive this time. No Doomfist. You'll be running the Sombra Genji, so it seems like China wants to continue to run the Genji. They ran this a little bit earlier in the series.
I mean, it's a little bit scary for Finland because they're not running a Lucio, so trying to peel a Genji off your backline becomes a little bit harder with him to stick with his comp if he gets through. Crystal being pretty careful actually as he approaches, opting just to get a bit of free damage on Linkser and put him in a position where he'd have to be attended to by his healers. Crystal's not too bothered. He's not overcommitting to any of this, whereas Finland are having to stay together as a pack just to try and get away. And remember, they're defending, so they're giving up voluntarily a lot of this space for China to take themselves.
Yes, Linkser was the one who actually got back, helped those supports out. So Doomfist, when the tanks go in to dive onto the supports, Doomfist, his greatest ability is taking care of those tanks pretty quick.
Knock them into a wall. You get extra damage if they hit a wall. That's the most important part of Rocket Punch. And you can see how quickly Gushue has melted down, even though we had the nano boost. Shaz able to find him. Now it's going to be the EMP from Lee, but this is where it gets a little bit scary. Shaz just melted. Lee was easily able to get the extra damage on Zappos' mech. So with just a few players, China now can move up towards the point, and there's no way Finland can stop them. A couple of their players are still hacked.
So they will take point A. So, Finland's had a very good time for Hanamura. 4 minutes on the clock. Now China looking to set an even better time. And, Hanamura, one of my favorite 2CT maps in the sense that there's so many different ways you can play it. You can play for high ground control, you can dive quickly towards the bottom, then go up towards the high ground. So many different compositions that are actually pretty effective on this map.
Davin, so he can get a good EMP because a lot of China will be stacked together. The problem is that China also, their damage, like their literal projectiles are going to be funneled in one direction or the other. So it's actually kind of easy to reveal Davin's position like that. All they need to do is walk up. The closer Davin is to someone like Gushue, the more risk he has of actually being uncloaked and potentially removed.
Yeah, and Linkser uses the Meteor Strike to get out of harm's way after he goes in a little bit too deep. Immediately goes back to the spawn and switches to Brigitte here. So Gushue using Primal Rage, trying to knock players back. This will be a big EMP that comes in from Davin. He's going to connect with 3.
Yeah, crucially, Crystal was actually hacked there, but he's still about to find a kill despite that, and then he'll have the Dragon Blade option if he needs it. No, Shaz removes him, and the EMP clearly enough to end the fight. A lot of ultimates used by Finland, though, as well as China. Both teams digging deep there to try and break the deadlock. And this will put Finland close to being ahead on this map.
And now what does China decide to do? Do they answer Finland's comp changes with a comp change of their own, or do they decide to just kind of muscle their way through this composition? They probably have a good idea that there's no Transcendence. Obviously, Linkser just getting over to Brigitte. They're not going to have a rally. They probably stay on this to try and combo EMP plus Blade. If that doesn't work, that's probably when you see changes come
That
through.
seems to be all they really have in this composition now. Oh, I see. Okay, that's really interesting. Lijiang might have given away Lee's position there by using Defense Matrix on what seemed like nothing to Finland. But they probably knew that Lee was being cloaked by that ability, so he could sort of stay alive. That's a perfect EMP, though. He gets in desperately, though. You can see the run towards the spawn room. The rest of Finland trying to get out alive. But importantly, Shaz does stay in it. Zappos is in there, but now Crystal has that Dragon Blade. He's trying to make some work happen with it. The EMP wasn't actually used on the tanks of Finland, though. It was the backline, so there weren't that many easy targets for Crystal to just remove from the fight because they just ran back into spawn, back to safety.
The EMP is good, but they are just walk right back into the spawn. It actually hits all 3 supports, so he connects with Linkser,
but only one dies.
Shaz. One dies, the other 2 make it back to the spawn. And you're not really, you can't really, I mean, there's nothing even China can do about that, right? I mean, the EMP is good.
You can't get into the enemy spawn.
The Blade's effective. You can't go into the enemy spawn. That would be a very interesting change.
Otherwise, Selfless would have had a great time a couple of years ago.
Okay, so China will opt to counter this with triple tank, triple support of their own.
Eureka, they finally found the answer.
Finland going to have Linkser move off of Brigitte to Widowmaker. I wonder, Linkser actually playing back by the spawn. He's going to go back and change it again.
Yeah, that has to be a misread, you think, right? Davin still has the EMP. be waiting, obviously, for a couple more players to show themselves. It looks like he was tickled a little bit by the Winston. He's going to use the EMP anyway, though, and Gushue, no way he can respond to that. Now with so many kills, it doesn't matter if the EMP hit everyone or no one. Finland able to clean up that fight, and you can see Linkster now, that switch to Doomfist does give them a shock and awe factor, the ability to quickly secure a numbers advantage in these fights.
There goes Leave. Nice nade comes through there from Big Goose.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. So go back. So Finland building up some ult, starting to gain an advantage right now. Linkster did a very nice job. We've seen him play Widowmaker, Brigitte, Doomfist now, whatever. They're pretty much just holding tabs, so to speak, seeing what China's coming in with, and then having him go back to the spawn and switch off. So right now they feel like the Doomfist will be most effective. China changing their strategy. No more going for the high ground. They're going to go through main.
Oh, who let Linkster in? Oh, who let the supports out? Evilton and Sky just get removed straight away. And Linkster, you have a big glove for a reason. You don't have to use the ungloved one to punch. That is really nasty. And you know what is so interesting about that? Was that really just the nano boost committed to that fight? That's such a cheap way for Finland to just wreck China up close.
Well, this is where you think if you're China, like this is where you can play, maybe you play that composition where you have the McCree and the Brigitte, because if you're going to play this and you're going to commit to going through these close chokes, Linkster's going to close the gap, and somebody's going to drop at the hands of Doomfist, right? Where you need that burst damage of McCree with the flash or maybe a stun from Brigitte with a headshot to take him out.
Frankie looks nervous in that fight. He took a little bit too much damage early on. He goes for the primal rage, but he was Discord ordered pretty